AMC stock is ripping here today, up about 20% on the day. If you are unaware of what is happening and what is causing this 20% rally, well, we'll talk about it here in this video, but we did cover it more extensively in the last video. Now here today, I want to give you guys an update on everything that is going on, where the data sits, where the technicals sit with AMC, as well as with the broad markets and what is going on. We actually have very important, see the emphasis there on very important data coming out tomorrow, but the markets are actually closed, and I can't recall the last time that has happened. So I think that sets us up for a very interesting, a lot of varies there, I know, bear with me, interesting day coming on Monday. So we have a lot to talk about in a very short amount of time. Hit that like button and or subscribe to the channel if you have not already. It is free 99, and if you want to take it a step further, come trade with us live in real time. Link down below in the description of this video. So first things first, the question on everyone's mind, if you are unaware why AMC stock is up 20%, it comes down to the courts. They're saying AMC is trying to move too fast to try to do this reverse split to raise more capital to pay out the settlement, which was 1 share for every 7.5 shares that you currently own right now. They were trying to do that before the court date on April 27th. The judge said, yeah, that's not going to happen. And long story short, it's because the courts don't know if this is a fair solution for all common stockholders. Yes, maybe the ones that are suing AMC think it is, but is it a good solution for common stockholders? The judge doesn't know that. We're going to have to go through the due process, as they say in that 8K filing that did come out yesterday. So long story short, nothing is going to happen with AMC, this reverse stock split, at least until April 27th. And then from there, the court is going to make their decision whether to make another court date, whether to dismiss and go with the settlement, maybe to renegotiate the settlement. I think either way, this makes the deal sweeter for current AMC stockholders, and that is why the stock is up 20%. It also throws cold water on this red hot trade that Wall Street has been participating in, and that is the arbitrage trade, playing the conversion spread between APE and AMC. And that's why you're up 20% on the day. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, although we still have to wait 21 days until the next court date to get any new information. So that is currently what is going on. We will come back to the charts here in just a second because I think it's starting to look a little bit better than not. Now, what is actually happening here on the day? You did get initial jobless claims that came in at 228,000. The forecast was for 205,000. So higher than expectations. That is what did drop the overall markets. In pre-market, once that data did come out, you kind of sold it all off. Even when markets open, you sold it off, and it's been a slow and steady grind back up ever since. Taking a few red candles here now, but overall, bad data is starting to be bad for the markets, because think about it. What's the whole reason, or why is the whole reason the markets did this in 2022? Going from 470 to 345 at the low, right? It's because fears of a recession, fears that the Fed is going to break something and that earnings are going to massively slow down. And that's probably the case here, but that's why markets were fearful. So if you start to get more signs the economy is slowing down, more signs that maybe stocks are overvalued, well, that's going to be a negative thing for the markets. Whereas in 2022, if you got bad economic data, it was seen as good for the markets because the real pressure was on inflation. So the dynamic has changed a little bit here in the markets, actually quite a bit here in the markets from 2022 now in 2023. And that is why the data coming out tomorrow will be so important. And it's very interesting because I can't recall the last time that you had major economic data like this come out on a Friday, and that Friday being a day where the markets were not open. So the data will still come out, but you're not going to get a reaction until Sunday futures open around 6 o'clock, and then coming Monday morning. So you are going to get the unemployment rate for March. You're expecting that to hold steady at 3.6%. That was also the unemployment rate for February as well. And the non-farm payrolls, you're expecting 239,000 net job adds. February's number was 311,000. Now, the recent employment data that you have seen has all been well under expectations. The ADP jobs report, as well as the initial jobless claims that just came out today. So I think this number might be a little bit too high, and I think it might come in quite a bit lower than that. And that's going to be a very negative thing for the markets coming on Monday if that does happen. Now, next week, you're also going to have the inflation report, which mix the two together. If you're getting, in theory here, right, let's speculate, if you're getting weak employment data and you get a CPI report coming out on Wednesday that shows inflation is remaining too high, well, that's a problem. That's a very big problem. That's stagflationary. And that's the thing that I would argue people fear the most. High inflation and stagnant growth. So that's really your brief market rundown. Here on another note, Bed Bath & Beyond proposes reverse stock split as it struggles to avoid bankruptcy. And pretty interesting here because Bed Bath & Beyond is down 7% here on the day, trying to, I guess, do the same kind of thing AMC is doing. Pretty interesting. Something I would stay far away from if I were you. Now, let's switch gears. Let's talk AMC. Let's talk about what is currently going on because the stock is up about 20% here on the day. Let's go ahead and refresh the Ortex numbers because if something changed over the last 10 minutes or so here, I want to bring you guys the most up-to-date information. And here we have it. Live short interest, our free float, sitting at 25.1%, up 0.05% on the day. The amount of shares currently sold short sits at 129.62 million, up about 67,000 here on the day. Cost to borrow average at 878.5%. Cost to borrow max at 1.05,000%, which that's 1,050%. Cost to borrow minimum sits at about 8%. I think that is well far off any cost to borrow rate that you are going to get on AMC stock. Even Interactive Brokers, which favors your large money, not a lot of retail investors use Interactive Brokers. They're sitting at 322% cost to borrow rates for AMC stock, with about 15,000 shares currently available to be lent out. If we take a look, the free flow out on loan still sits at about 39%. So there is a lot of shares out on loan that could be sold short really at any given time, or could be kind of returned back or used to cover on short positions. So I think there's a lot of negative positioning in AMC, obviously, for this arbitrage trade. The trade has been go short on AMC, go long on APE, but at the same time, they're keeping enough dry powder on the sideline, aka these AMC shares out on loan, to cover on their short positions if they need to in a short amount of time, or to ultimately short more AMC stock. So I do think there is indications here there's going to be a lot of volatility, that these 20% up or down days are not over and likely won't be over for a while here. Any new information heading from now until April 27th as well can give us more fuel to this fire, or really I don't expect a whole lot from now until then to drop the stock. I think the risk here is a lot more for the shorts than it is for the longs at this current moment in time. Now, the dollar amount currently sold short in AMC stock is sitting at about $525 million. Days to cover at 5.45, which is very, very high. That means for all the shorts to cover on their short positions, it's going to take 5 days to do so. For context here, when you squeezed in June, the days to cover, it was at about 3.5 days to cover. So big difference comparing even June to now, and now is looking a lot better. You're also sitting at 100% share utilization. You've been at 100% utilization for a very long time now. If you take a look at the option activity, this is actually interesting to me. 143 orders on the day, totaling about $47 million. 0% positive order value. So it looks like hedge funds are just doubling down on those put options, right? Or playing directionally bearish trades, which could be selling calls as well or buying puts. Both of those are directionally bearish or not expecting the stock to go up much more from here, which I think is very interesting, all things considered. That you're getting a 20% rally and you're still seeing so much bearish put positioning. Now, if we take a look at the option activity, things are definitely moving around quite a bit here today because of this judge ruling. You went from seeing a ton of calls out of the money, not a lot in the money, to now sitting at about 41,000 calls in the money, 171,000 calls out of the money. And you can see over here, April 6th, that is today, because today is the last day of the week. In the money puts at 76,000, out the money puts now at 119,000. So you've seen these numbers totally flip-flop here. Now, I want to really pay attention to next week as well as the April 21st option expiration, because that's a much bigger option expiration. And on the put side for April 21st, you're already looking at about 231,000 puts in the money, 559,000 puts out of the money, and on the call side, about 354,000 calls out the money and 43,000 calls currently in the money, guys. So you are definitely looking at a lot of activity overall on AMC, and some very weird directionally bearish, activity as well, especially in the derivative markets, in the put and call markets, I should say. So pretty weird. Now, on a technical basis, right, you got dropped down. You started to recover yesterday. It was about a 3.5% rally on April 5th. That was yesterday. And now today you're up 20%. So you're still in this mid-range that we have really been in since the start of 2023. Now, I do think the 50-day moving average is probably going to act as a decent resistance level at $5.36 per share. But I do think as we continue on, investors are going to think it's going to be a little bit less likely that this is cut and dry, just going to be approved by the courts for AMC to do this reverse stock split. It might take a decent amount of time. When cost of borrow rates are 1,000%, that hurts shorts start to cover on short positions. So I do think it's going to be a strong resistance level, as well as the 100-day moving average at $5.60 per share, but it doesn't have to be a sticky level that we have to remain under. I do think a more logical range, especially after April 27th, is going to be in between $5.60 per share, this 100-day moving average right here, and $7.17 per share right here, the 200-day moving average, because after all, I don't think the court's going to make a decision April 27th, and I think there's going to be another court date at the very minimum, guys. So that is going to do it for this intraday update. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. That is it. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.